Hey everybody, getting ready for our special Halloweeny. I'm wearing my Jason shirt.
I'm wearing a hoodie
Friday
because
the
it's cold
13th.
outside.
Yes, because it's nipply.
It's cold outside. We are setting up for episode 4, which is also,
Episode
like we
4.
said,
It's our special.
special number 4. I mean, I said episode number 4. Special number 4, and it's for month of Halloween, and we think we're gonna publish it tomorrow for you guys
For Halloween,
for
baby.
For Hallows Eve. I can't.
Oh shit.
Ouch. Oh, maybe that'll help.
Do you like how I do the chords now?
Yeah.
Wrap them around that. It's a lot easier. Take it out on me, yeah.
Ooh, we should brought the fog machine.
Oh God, Lexi, no! It would have freaking. The first time I bought that, I did that. I had to open up all the doors in the house to let the freaking house air out. Oh God!
Sorry, dogs.
Reed, shut up! Come on. Yeah, Max is funny. He's in there sleep in his little winky. No. Get up there and go. Let's sit down. Fix and do a podcast. You can't get up here. Go. You don't feel a thing.
Back to say.
Back to life.
Okay, we're gonna switch on over to our podcast format thingy bobber, so we can test out our voices and get to rolling. So just stay tuned and this mouse
However
is
you
stuck.
want it.
All right.
Love it in the evening. However
Sorry,
do you want it?
this mouse is being stupid. Oh no, it's not the mouse. It's just me. Because the cord got stuck on something.
Yeah.
I didn't look. I was just like, it's not working.
Yeah, she never does. She's just like, Dad, fix it, Dad.
Okay, I'm gonna make you happy.
So, are you like Ashley? Do you care? I don't need notes for this one, do I?
No, because it's a special.
Yeah.
You didn't do notes, right?
No, I never do for the specials. I make her do all the work.
Do I still need to do the tuner on these things?
Let's not do the tuner and all that this time, because I've been listening to them on Spotify and stuff. Some of them kind of, so I just don't even do it. Let's try one without it. But just...
I'm going to drink an alcohol before we start.
Alright, that's all yummy to the tummy. I should have got more coffee, but I'll be okay. Who knows, I might have enough energy and we can just do another regular episode. Yeah. However do you want it?
Alright.
Love it in the evening.
You ready?
Let's do it, Samson.
Rocky, rolly. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And welcome back, everybody. This is Ghost Stories 2 from the South. I am your co-host, Lexi.
And I am your host, Stephen LeBooth. We got some scary stuff for you today on our special. Lexi's been digging and diving deep for a good special.
Yes, I have.
And we both kind of have, but the only thing I participated in was watching a documentary.
Well, I mean, you're the one that told me about it. So.
Yeah, because I thought, with us telling ghost stories and stuff, I thought that we should maybe do one over, what's their names? I always forget.
Ed and Laurine Warren.
Yes, because I didn't know till I seen this documentary, and that's what kind of inspired me to do the documentary on them. Was I didn't know that they were like the first people to be like, hey, we can talk to this,
yeah, they were like the first people to really get like what they do out there and like about ghosts and stuff. Like they introduced it, so
it's pretty cool. Yeah. I was like, yeah, we got to do something on these guys.
So we did, and this is what our special is going to be about.
So yeah.
So stay tuned till the end to hear further news about the podcast.
Sorry, I can't stand being high in my chair.
And make sure to check out our video. We are actually recording live right now on So make sure to check that out.
A day before Halloween,
Yeah.
guys. We was trying to stay up till midnight, but I'm an old man. I'm tired.
It's okay.
But I did have a cup of coffee, so. But see, I
But,
can stay up late podcasting all the time.
Yeah.
But no,
Just not doing anything else.
We've done that before. Well, we did that one time, 3 or 4 podcasts that day.
Oh, that was so exhausting. But I think we should go ahead and get started. What do you think?
Let's do it, man.
All right. Okay, well, I am going to start this by saying that this thing goes a little bit back and forth. It talks about between, like, the locations of the accidents, all like or incidents. Also, it talks about them a lot and they're kind of growing up in their childhood. So, like, it's gonna go back and forth.
And what I thought was cool about the documentary, didn't mean to cut you off, but how it kind of entangled their marriage and it was kind of like their romance and their marriage all rolled in with the romance of being a paranormal person.
Yeah.
They loved doing it. They loved helping people because, like he said, he wanted to let people know, hey, the devil's real. He is out there. I'm not saying, start going to church every day. He's like, but there is the devil. There is bad spirits out there.
Yeah.
And it was just a cool documentary how they put that all together because, man, they were such a cool couple, too.
I know, and I didn't know stuff I knew about them, like when they died, which we'll get to that. That's the very, very end. But
that's sad.
That was so sad. Like, I kind of cried at the end. I was like, oh, because, like, I knew about them and I know who they are, but I didn't know this much because I've watched all the Conjuring movies, the Annabelle movies, what their stuff is based off of. So I was just kind of like, okay, well, but then I listened to the documentary and I watched it and I was like, my heart.
Yes, it was so cool. And it was a documentary and it's called
The True Story of Ed and Laurine Warren, and it's I guess the TV people who like the show is called Devil's Road.
Yeah.
That specific episode is just called The True Story.
I think it was on the Travel Channel.
Yeah, so, probably. That's where all these are from anyway.
Well, because, that's pretty much all I watch. I don't really watch stuff that... I'm not a real big guy on series. I watch more of that's paranormal stuff. And like Paranormal Caught on Tape and that...
My Haunted House is pretty good, too.
My Haunted House is another good one me and her used to watch together. Remember, we used to have a schedule when she was in school.
Yeah, we'd watch it, and then I go to bed after school.
Tuesday nights was a haunting or something like that. And then Wednesday nights was American Horror Story. And then Thursday nights was another paranormal show. That
we had it all throughout the week. We just had it going.
Especially about this time of year because that's when they show everything.
Yeah. But, okay, let's jump right in here. So, yeah. Okay, now... I'm going to say this to you guys. Like I said, I already told you guys that it's like a back and forth thing, so just hang in there with me. But you guys are going to feel really differently about these guys than you do. And I hope that, like, if you don't believe in ghosts and everything, and if you're listening to this and you don't, and you think we're just funny, hey, thanks. But, like, I think we'll change your mind after some of this. But if you don't, you don't. It's just fun to listen to sometimes, so.
But it's even crazy listening to the story we're about to say about these two people of how even they got ridiculed and people were like, you're fucking nuts. There's no way that happened. You're crazy.
When they had that, like, so many witnesses. But, all right, well, we're going to start. This is the first incident, and it's going to go back and forth. Just going to let you know again. So the address is 966 Lindy Street, Poltergeist. That's what it was called. And this was in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and this was in 1974. Well, Ed and Laurine had gotten a call from a friend asking for help. They claimed they had a poltergeist in the house. So Ed and Laurine drove and checked it out. Well, they got there and it had looked like someone like ransacked the house. Like went through everything, flipped tables, flipped furniture, like beat everything up with a baseball bat. Like
it was destroyed. I mean, it did. It looked like a bunch of gang of just young kids went in there, just a gang of people, and just tore it up. I mean, just demolished it.
And I guess like they left their house, or the people that lived there left to go do something. They came back and the house was like that.
Yeah.
But there was like, I guess, no signs of break-ins or anything because the cops were there. Because I mean, it looked like a break-in at first, but then you start looking and it's like
no, wait a minute.
Yeah. So then they got a priest, a father out there, and then Ed and Laurine showed up. So, well, and the people's names that it was is that okay to say their names?
Oops, sorry.
It's
Whose name? The
the
house that was at?
not the house, the people like that it happened to.
Oh, I don't remember.
Why is it okay to say their names?
Well, yeah, we're just telling the
Okay.
story.
Okay, well, because I know that's
It should be fine.
all right. Well, it was the house of Jerry and Laura Goodman. So, um, and this I'm gonna tell you this. This is based off Poltergeist. So if you hear the movie, hear the movie. You hear the movie. If you've seen the movie, and not the newest one, the original one, even though they're like kind of the same, but
Yeah.
then you're gonna kind of recognize some stuff. So, well,
Yeah, because
so
Poltergeist, that movie was kind of cool too, because it was had a lot of different kind of real stories in it, because it
yeah,
was based off of the
this.
yeah.
So, but yeah. So anyway, so when they got the call, they went there, and the officers were there, and everybody was there. The officers got there first. They went in, and they were literally seeing things lifting off the ground and moving and lifting. Well,
Well, what that one cop say? That the chief was trying, because he was an old man. He's like, well, we looked around and it was a 12-year-old kid that did it, and da da da. And the officer in that
yeah,
tape goes, "There's no way that 12-year-old kid did it." And then because the paranormal guy was like, "Well, tell me what do you mean? Did you see something?" He goes, "Well, yeah, there was nobody around." And that refrigerator moved on its own. There's no way a 12-year-old kids. And back then, refrigerators and crap were heavy. They're not light
yeah,
like
they
they
were
are
big,
now.
and everything was more bigger and
And
bulkier.
bulkier. So, and he was like, "There's no way." You remember that part?
Yeah, he was like, "There is no way in hell that a 12-year-old girl can move that halfway across the kitchen like that."
Yeah.
And there was no one there. Well, that's not like the only thing that happened, but like that was one of the things that they had the recording of. Well, whenever another cop had gone in, after they saw everything floating and stuff, they would repeatedly see this 12-year-old girl that was supposedly the poltergeist in a chair. But every time they saw her, she was in a different chair, in a different spot, in a different place. Well, they just kind of ignored that, and they're like, okay, whatever. Well, then they literally saw her fly off the chair at one point. I don't know how you explain
And
that.
wasn't it seen by more than one person?
Yes, because then the media somehow got a hold of it, and the media was there, and people were running into the house and seeing stuff and everything.
Yeah.
So
it was crazy outside. If you see the documentary on it,
there's like
it's just like that scene in Ghostbusters, where everybody's outside that hotel and the Ghostbusters are fighting to the crowd trying to get to the hotel. That's how it was. There was reporters everywhere, cops. I mean, it was everybody. It was packed.
Yeah. Well, so whenever the officers were in there, also like a bunch of pictures are flying off the wall. So like crap was happening. Like they weren't making it up, and especially what that cop said about the refrigerator. You know. Well, then a set of dishes also had lifted up and flew, but they weren't glass; they were plastic. So they broke, like not just broke, like shattered like glass, but they were plastic. Yeah. Well, then they were talking to Ed and Laurine. Like I said, this is going to go back and forth. I'm sorry. But at one point, the owners of the house were talking to Ed and Lorraine, and they had told them that one day the husband had got attacked. He was bringing in groceries and setting them on the kitchen table, and he had gone back out to get more and came back in, and the table was lifted up floating. And it had turned, and it like flew across the room. So, but as that was happening, his wife in the other room, had cabinets opening and closing all over like the room, like just repeatedly.
Open and close.
Yeah. Well, and then also in the kitchen where everything was happening with the husband, knives came out of the holders and stuck to the ceiling.
That's crazy as Pukaki.
Yeah. So that happened. That, and then I guess that's also what they needed help with because of that. And then after you see like knives fly and your kitchen table lift off the ground.
I don't know. That'd make me want to stay.
Yeah. Well, going back to the actual date of the incident, like I said, cops had showed up for backup and firemen came. There wasn't on fire, but don't know if firemen can help.
Well, they was all flipping out. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know who to call. You need to call the paramedics, call the fire department, because everybody kept trying to come over there and make their assumption of what's going on. Well, it's going on because this is happening or this is happening. But when they got in there, no one ever seen this kind of crap that was going on. So they were like, I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah. So, like I said, a bunch of people eventually came. A city engineer had came in the house. I forgot what it was called. Came in the house, and the icebox moved towards him also. So it wasn't just one person. It wasn't just the cop. It was this city engineer. The refrigerator
The
moved towards him
refrigerator
too. So, like, basically, everyone, like, there's witnesses. Well, um, this movie came out a little bit, and it was based off everything that happened. So that's why I said that. But the footage and everything was recorded and showed around the country, and half people were like, "Oh, that's fake. You guys like like if the 12-year-old faked it." The other half were like, no, that's some demon crap going on."
Yeah.
So, well, and this is kind of the part that I'm a little confused on, but I guess Judy, their daughter, introduced this case to them. Like, I guess she saw it, and then that's whenever she gave the owners her parents' numbers, and that's whenever they got a call. I guess because she is the reason that like they found it. Well, I mean, I guess they would have maybe if it was on TV, but like,
yeah,
you know, so that where I got a little confused on that. So I could be wrong about that, but you know,
but it's kind of weird too because the cops tried to cover it up. Remember
yeah,
that they got this. They got the actual videotape, actual audio of the guy talking to the
yeah,
other cops, and the cops were like, "Man, there's no way in heck that you're gonna tell me that's that." He goes, "I seen that picture fly off the wall."
or I seen the
You know,
icebox
yeah.
move, or I seen this girl fly, like. So they pretty much dismissed it as
And like
like
I
the
said,
12-year-old covered
the
it up
chief of
or did
police,
it.
whoever ran the unit, was like on TV going, "Oh, there's no such thing as ghosts. There was no ghost in that house." And I mean, he was just
Yeah.
like, it's that 12-year-old girl.
But everybody else is like, there's something fishy going on in that house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but excuse me, that was so gross. So, I mean, but like if I was the sheriff of my town, I don't know if I'd want my people knowing that they weren't safe because of a ghost.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe it was like a boss thing where you had to be like, y'all are crazy. So, I don't know. But moving on, this is another house. Oh, no, it's not. My bad. This is the same house. The 966, the poltergeist one, this is it. I'm going to start calling it Lindsay House because that's kind of what it is. It's the last name of the people who live there. But anyway, they had a blessing there. I forgot what that was called too, like a blessing on the house. And the father had actually seen shadows in the basement and stuff. Lorraine set up a seance, and she was doing a seance, and a blister started forming on her hand. So Ed sent her home because he was scared for her safety, and then he had stayed, to see what else would happen. And then he was reading a blessing out loud to this kid, the poltergeist girl, and a cloud came out of this girl's body, formed around like him, had words on it. The energy of it felt like it was gonna explode, and it just disappeared. And yeah, so that happened. Do you remember that whenever it was showing the images or whatever?
Yes.
That was creepy. Well, they did an exorcism because they were like, that's some negative energy.
We don't need that around
yeah.
here.
Well, they did the exorcism and stuff. They said in one instance that the child was just standing and it got like yanked backwards. You know how like in the recent like Annabelle movies, how like if you're in the dark, like it'll yank you back. That's what it was.
That's when it's time to eject. It's time to leave the house. You might be stuck in it or whatever.
Yeah. Go live on the street.
It's time
or
to get the hell
no,
out.
don't say it.
It's
Yeah.
time to just cut your losses and be like, man, yeah, we're gonna be stuck. So I mean, we're gonna be owing a lot of money, but let's just get down here. I'd go.
Yeah. Well, and like we said, the whole town thought it was a hoax that the 10-year-old did it, or 10, 12-year-old did it, and the town just thought it was fake. And so that's pretty much the end of that. They got
you
help from
understand too, in the 70s, their mind wasn't as open as it is now about this kind of stuff. Back then, it was like, that ain't real.
And if you believed in it, you were stupid or something.
You're an idiot. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's always an explanation.
And now you have all this evidence about it. So,
Yeah.
but
And what's crazy is, man, these guys lived a full life of doing this, and they seen
I
some crazy
know.
stuff. I mean, some crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, now we're gonna go on talking about Ed for like one split second. Like I said, it goes back and forth, but this is a little background on him. So basically, he was always interested in the paranormal, like ever since he was a baby. I can't say baby, but like a little kid. Like, he loved it. Well, he used to live in a haunted house and he had experiences. His dad didn't believe it. He was like, there's logical reasons for everything. Um, and he kind of had to dismiss it. And so after that, he went to the Navy at 17 just to like do something. And also back then, I don't think he really had choice. Or if I'm thinking about the right timeline thing,
Yeah.
I don't think he had a choice back then. Whenever he was a little boy or young teenager. Well, then Lorraine, she started finding her ability and experiencing it when she was only 9. She started seeing auras around people, like the color and the energy you get from them. But she grew up in a Catholic school, so she went to go tell a nun, and they were like, "No, you need to stop. Don't think about that," because it was like they didn't think it was holy and good. Well, then she told her mom, and her mom called her crazy and was like, "No." So,
Yeah, 'cause see, back then, if you said you seen ghosts or this and that, they'd send you to a freaking insane asylum.
yeah,
Or,
so they were basically just like,
kick
"Don't
you out
talk
of
about
town.
it." Well, she met Ed as a teenager, and like they helped each other and everything. Well, they stayed together during whenever he had to go to the Navy. They wrote back and forth, and they talked almost every day. So they still were together and there for each other. Then in Ed had a little experience um, during an explosion after World War II. This is kind of whenever he got out and he was like, I'm not doing it anymore. Well, there was an explosion of a ship had exploded and everybody went overboard, went into the water. Well, he swam over to help a guy and like fire formed on the water around them. Then another guy, put his hand through the fire and pulled them out. But every time he asked somebody about it, they're like, there was no fire. I don't know what you're talking about. And Ed thought it was like God trying to save him or something.
Yeah.
So he went home and he married Lorraine on May 2nd of.
Yeah, because they got married like right there on the spot.
Yeah, right
because
after that.
Because he was leaving back out again, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, I don't know
I think that's why he wanted to rush it because he had that near-death experience.
Yeah, because he had that near-death experience,
and
he
was
was
like,
like,
"I love you, baby. Let's just get married."
Yeah, so that's what it was. I don't know why I said maybe. I think he quit after this. He does quit or leave the Navy, but not.
Eventually.
Yeah, but so then, Lorraine got pregnant while Ed was overseas, and that's when Julie was born.
Oh, Julie.
Judy. Um. So also he used to do like these paintings on the side.
Well, ain't that
That's kind of what he did
what
afterwards.
got him in to like the people's houses?
So
and
what
stuff?
he would do is kind of after the Navy, he was like, okay, I'm really into painting. I'm going to become an artist. Well, him and Lorraine, like I said, have always loved haunted stuff, and they've always been into it. So he would go to these places, paint the buildings, and they'd get in there and talk to these people about the hauntings and everything, and get to talk to the owners and they're about their experiences and stuff. So that's kind of how that started, and they just kept on getting bigger, and eventually they get calls like to come investigate. Ed's first case or experience that he had to go through, or not really that he had to, but like that him, on this new adventure that him and Lorraine had, this is their very first case. A man, they had got a call about this guy. He literally was acting like a pig. Like he smelled like a pig, made the noises, ate and drank like a pig. Like he was imitating a pig. So they had to go take care of that. But that's like that was his first case.
I do that sometimes, you know. The kids push me over the edge, and I just want to pull my hair out. And it's been one of them days where all I hear is, "Hey, daddy, she's doing this. Hey, daddy, he's doing this." Hey, I just want to run around snorting like a freaking pig. Could you imagine though, really seeing that?
I don't know what I'd do.
You're like, what the heck is this guy's problem?
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah. They became known as the Seekers of the Paranormal not too long afterwards.
And they kind of really stayed up in the northeastern part of America for the longest time. That's really where they got their.
They didn't really They didn't go really a lot of places until like.
I think the
right
70s is when they got big, when TV started getting big. You know.
Yeah. So, now this is the Conjuring house, the very, very, very first Conjuring that had Roger and Caroline and stuff in it. That's what this one's based off of. So, or that's what the movie is based off of, is this situation. So this is the Conjuring house in Harrisville, Rhode Island in 1971. So Roger, Caroline, and his 5 daughters had moved into this new house. And they were, unpacking the ship, the truck.
They was unpacking the ship.
They was unpacking the truck and getting everything inside and, unpacking. Well, the daughters were bringing in boxes, and they started seeing this strange man just, like, all over the house. But they didn't say anything. They ignored it. Well, then...
Sorry, I couldn't ignore that.
I couldn't either. I'd be like, hell no.
I'd be like, yo, man, I've been seeing this guy all over the house. You know, every time I bring a box in, he's in a different room, different place.
I couldn't.
Can he leave?
Yeah.
Or I'll leave.
Yeah, one or the other. But then on another instance, Caroline, the mom, started seeing things too. She cut into an orange one day, and the juice became blood. So she was
always right.
Then she saw a little woman just around the house, and then things started to move. So after that, she was like, there's a ghost in here, I need help. So she, found Ed and Laurine. Ed and Laurine had found a bunch of hot spots in the house, which is, I guess, ghost code for that's where shit's happening. Basically.
The shit's happening now.
I really don't know how else to say it. They had detected this female spirit that had lived there, died there, and it was a sinister spirit. Well, they wanted to do a seance, but Roger, the husband, was skeptical and was like, this is stupid. We don't have a ghost in here. But they did it. 2 days later, Laurine was trying to connect with it. Then an unseen force literally hit Caroline, lifted her up in this chair, threw her back, like she threw herself back, and she started speaking in tongues. Well, Ed and Laurine thought it was a demon attack or possession, but then Roger kicked them out, or like punched Ed and then kicked him out because he was like, y'all hurt my wife, get out of my house. Which, if you've seen the movie, is so different, but I mean, I know why they wouldn't put that in the movie though, because that would be a really, really shitty ending to a movie.
Yeah.
But like, that's actually what happened, and I didn't know that. And when I read about that, or when I watched it, I was like, well, so what happened? Did she ever die or something? Like,
yeah,
because it doesn't talk about it anymore after that. So I was like, he just punched him, and that was the end of the story. But yeah, so I don't know, but all right. So now this is gonna be about the Amityville Horror House. And this is not all of their cases either. This is like the top ones.
Yeah.
So
I remember when this movie came out. I was a kid. Well, I wasn't like I was a little kid when it first came out. I seen it like a couple years later. I was probably like 6 or 7. I mean, no, not that young. I was probably like 8 when I first seen it. And man, it scared the living crap out of me.
Yeah.
God, I hated that movie.
Alright, so this is... Also, I didn't know this place was in New York until I actually looked at the place one day.
Mm-hmm.
And this happened in 1976. So... And I've also done a conspiracy theory about this, and I've talked about this, I believe, here, but if not, I've talked about it on mine and Stephanie's podcast. This is actually conspiracy theory, and a lot of people don't believe it's real, but I'll talk about that kind of after everything happened. But regardless, this is true, 100% true. In 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed his family. There was a mom, a dad, a couple brothers, and a sister. Then, about 1 year later after the murders, George and Kathy Lutz moved in. And they had this 28-day nightmare thing, and you might be remembering.
Yeah.
So, they said windows would always open and close. They'd hear gunshots in the bedrooms. They'd hear voices, strange noises. I guess when she's shaking heads, like in the movie, it showed
Oh yeah, and the
different
second
pictures.
one, not really the first one, but the second one, it'd show them just their head doing.
Yeah, and then hear screams all the time. Well, this is apparently a case that Ed and Laurine would never forget. After the 28-day nightmare had happened, they got called in, and Ed and Lorraine got there, and they said all their stuff was still there. They looked like they had fled from the scene and never turned back. Like, every single personal item was there. They said it looked like they fled in terror. And so they went in, they were trying to figure out what happened. They went up the stairs to the second floor, and Lorraine was the leading person because she's the person that can, like, see shit and read it. So she was in front. The camera guy was behind her. Well, this force, like, made her chest, like, heavy. And then she started feeling ill, and she, like, fainted over. Like, not fainted, but didn't pass out. Wait, that's the same thing. Like, she did,
Yeah.
So, she said it was the closest thing to hell she's ever felt. So, I mean, it didn't really describe how she felt, but, like, she said she felt bad.
I imagine, jeez.
Well, then, also while they were there, Ed was forced to the ground by a unseen force. I don't remember what he was doing, but he was doing something, and this thing just, like, pushed him to the ground. Well, then he was doing the Bible ritual stuff that you do during an exorcism, and, like, he got up and nothing else happened to him. So he fought the demon back, or whatever pushed him down. So after touring the house, they declared that they had a demon infestation. Infestation? That's how you say that. And guess what? They did a seance.
Oh, lovely.
So they found out that, this is also from the second one, that a warlock had lived there in 1928, but they couldn't get any other contact. After the seance, everyone started feeling sick. Well, the camera guy walked up to the second floor to do something, and the same thing happened to him as it happened to Lorraine. So, heavy chest, felt sick, and felt like he was in hell. Well, after that happened, they cleansed the house, and they did an exorcism, I guess, on the house, or on the guy. I don't really remember what they did it on. I think they did it on the house, because the family had already, like, left, but then the Coltses moved to California after all that happened. California, did you hear how I said that?
California.
California, after everything happened, and they let the bank foreclose the house. Well, Ed and Lorraine kept in touch. I can't say keep still. They kept in touch with them, like, until they died. All the time they would check up on them. But going on the conspiracy thing on this, some other paranormal investigators, I guess, have looked at it and been like, because they had the book, they had 2 movies, I think they have 3 now, but, like, some paranormal investigators are like, that makes no sense, or whatever. So, like, it's one of those things where a lot of people believe it, but some people don't. So, but after this one, this is when they really started getting.
Well, when they was taking pictures through the house, didn't they catch a picture of that boy, remember, peeking his head out?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a creepy freaking picture.
Oh, yeah, because they had to take pictures,
Yes.
just as capture stuff, and they captured one of the little brothers poking his head out around the corner. So.
See how much time we got?
Oh. Sorry, guys.
31 minutes. We probably got another 30 minutes to go, too, don't we?
Yeah, about. All right.
Well, I'm going to make another little coffee. I mean, you're the one really doing everything. This is a special. I'll be right back. I want to take 5 minutes.
All right.
You'll be like, what are you scared? She's scared, everybody.
We're talking about
Lexi's scared.
ghosts. Every time we've done something, the last few times in our podcast, stuff's happening.
And it's only when we do specials and stuff.
I don't understand, but...
Yes. Well, heck, I mean, we have the worst luck trying to do this stuff.
All right.
It's crazy.
So, Dad's going to make coffee.
I'll be right back. Don't let her get too scared. Every now and then, while y'all are watching it's on YouTube, send her an email or something, or say something in the comments. Hey, Lexi, it's okay. We're still listening. I'm just going to get coffee. Ooh.
Stop. Okay, so Ed and Laurine, they said that they had done this for fun, and they did it for free. They didn't want to charge, I almost said pay people. They didn't want to charge anybody to be cleansed or, you know, whatever. So they just did it to help people and warn people. Well, going back to the Amityville thing, in 1977, a year after the incident happened where they went to the house and everything, the Amityville horror book and movie, the first version, came out, but Ed and Laurine was not mentioned in the book, which is another thing about the conspiracy theory. They weren't mentioned in the book. They didn't give more credit. I mean, they didn't get credit. But surprisingly, I don't know how, but I guess because people already knew, they got more publicity off of the book and movie, even though they were not in it or mentioned in it. So, yeah, that kind of helped do their career. Well, in, again, 1977, over 1 million Ouija boards were sold in America in high demand. Because that's the year the Amityville thing came out. And that's when Ed and Laurine were getting popular. So everyone was like, let's go contact some spirits. So, then Ed and Laurine started doing lecture tours at colleges. And if you've seen any of the movies that have them in it, then you kind of know that this is where they kind of start out, and this is where people go to get help from them. So, yeah. They have also played audio clips and videos and photos at these college lectures to show people. Laurine has actually undergone a scientific test about her powers and her abilities, and there's not really a scientific answer, so what's she gonna do? Okay, so this is one that went to court. I can't talk, I'm sorry. Okay, this happened in the 1980s. This is the case of Ann Johnson Brookfield, and this happened in Connecticut. She is a 19-year-old. She was a 19-year-old. She had stabbed her landlord to death in rage. She claimed that she was possessed, and it took five men to hold her down. Her fiance, his fiance, I don't know why I said her. His fiance, took on and helped the trial because, she thought he was innocent. So she, helped the trial. And then after a couple months, he was found guilty. The judge said that being possessed was not a good enough excuse to kill somebody. So, the thing about him is that apparently the judge was worried about his image. So,
So did I miss anything? Any googly booglies go on?
That we just had a little shorty.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You'll have to go back and listen if you want to know what it was. Okay. Alright, this is moving on to another one. That one was a shorty. That's just a little thing that happened. It didn't really talk about what their role was in it, but they talked like they were there. So, Anyway, this is the succubus exorcism in West Pittsburgh in 1986.
Succubus. Now, what is that one again?
This is the one where
the succubus creature thing.
Yeah,
I've heard it before, but I don't remember.
It's where they look really, really pretty from far away, but up close they're ugly and ugly and ugly, and they kill you.
Ah.
Yeah.
Kind of like ex-wives. When you first kind of met them from a distance, they look good. And at first they look good, but the more you started hanging around them, you realized how mean they were. and how
Wow.
ugly they really were.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
That goes for males and females, not just my ex, everybody's ex.
All right.
So
Anyway,
everybody used to have an incubus.
a
Oh,
succubus.
succubus. Sorry.
Okay. So this story involves a married couple and 4 children. Apparently they called themselves the Plagued because of the history that they have. Well, this family had gone to the local priest to get the home blessed, and the priest told them, "No one here can help you." And that's when they went to the Warrens. So, like, the church turned them down, and the church is supposed to be there to help people.
Yeah.
They were like, "Bye, your house is too much."
Sorry. Yeah, that's too much freaky stuff for us.
Yeah, so they said one night the bed shifted at night with the couple on the bed, and then shadows were around it, and then something yanked the wife out of the bed.
Lovely.
Yeah. Then the couple rose up to the ceiling, like, while laying down one time. The succubus creature appeared to the husband one day. Looked really beautiful from far away, but as it got closer, the uglier it got. It had no teeth, and it attacked him, and it had this skeletal face, and just ugly and dead, basically. So it attacked him. Then after that, they were like, "We need to get rid of this thing before it tries
Now, I'm
to
not
kill
trying
my
to
wife."
be dirty, but is it the succubus kind of like because I remember as a kid watching one with my mama about this house, and the ghost raped the dad or something. It literally raped him.
I don't know if they do that.
And then there was another one I watched where this woman was getting raped by a ghost.
What kind of movies do you watch?
No, for real. I can't remember. This one was it's about a house in California. The one where the woman was getting raped, and the other one I don't remember. But it was really weird because like when they'd go camping, and people would tell them when they got home, "Hey, y'all's lights were flashing all off." And this was in the '80s, before cell phones.
No.
Anyways, didn't mean to side off track that far. I was just
It's fine. All right.
just wondering.
It's good. So this is also involves a succubus story. I guess
Well, that sucks.
they called the police one night, I guess, because things got a little too rough. A cop went in with Ed to go through the house, and an unseen force grabbed Ed by the neck, threw him back on the bed. Then the officer threw holy water at the air, trying to just guess where the ghost was, and it saved him. It saved Ed from dying.
Wow.
Well, that's when that's when they found out that that thing going on in the house was powerful and they needed help. Then they had to go to a bunch of conferences to get help because no one wanted to help them. Like, they had to put on conferences and talk to people and be like, "Hey, this church is not helping us. Can anyone out there help us?" Well, eventually they found a priest or a father, and they rid the house of evil. So the house is apparently good now. I guess nothing bad happened, but like, it's crazy to me that no one wanted to help.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time,
That's how
I get it.
at first. I mean, even today, they say it's really hard to get help sometimes when it's that bad.
Yeah, well, and like me, I love people, but like, if someone came up to me and they're like, "Hey, I got a demon. Can you help me? I'm kicking them out of my house." I can't. I'd be
Sorry,
like,
I don't think I can today.
yeah, be like, maybe tomorrow. All right. So now we're gonna talk about the haunting in Connecticut.
Oh, and we got to tell them too. I don't know if they know this. I mean, they should. I mean, if they know anything about these people, they know. But if they don't, every time they do a haunting, there's always an object sometimes.
Oh yeah, which we'll talk about that later too.
Oh yeah, they take these objects.
Yeah,
from
so
everywhere.
and you'll know that too if you also have seen the remakes of movies.
Yes.
And you see their little thing in their house. It's had their own little museum. So.
And Stephanie.
Yeah.
For a minute, I was like, "Wait a minute, I heard something out there." And it's Stephanie. I heard the caca.
All right, so this is the haunting in Connecticut.
Okay, staff, stop. We can hear you there, Gomez.
This was in Southington, Connecticut, in 1984. This is the one about the cancer boy, if you have seen the remake or the movie. I don't know if that one's been redone. I'm pretty sure it has. Anyway, so basically their son was getting cancer treatments and they couldn't afford to live where they were. They needed,
because the drive was what, like 4
yeah,
hours
and
away.
he had to go like every week.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do it, and they needed a more affordable place closer to the hospital too if something happened, because they didn't live close to the hospital. So she just found a place and she just bought it like that, and it was really cheap. But get this, the son wanted to sleep in the basement. So the basement was an area that we'll talk about in a minute, but it was a funeral home. Like, the whole building was a funeral home. And I didn't know about this until, like, a little bit later. So, yeah. One day the mom was mopping the floor in the basement, and the water turned blood red.
And didn't the helper that was helping her clean, because she hired a cleaning lady to help her, didn't she leave and never come back after that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, she said it was a little Mexican lady helping her clean. And she said she's seen that, and she just went off saying something in Spanish, going...
Yeah, and then just never came back. The son that was having the cancer treatments, he started seeing this guy, and if you remember in the movie, he was seeing this guy too.
Yeah.
But he ended up saving him, so it's okay. But he started seeing this guy. This man, he was like tall. He had black squinty eyes and long black hair, and he had a weird face, according to him. He would stand across from him and tell him to do bad things or say bad stuff. The family thought that the cancer treatments were affecting him and like doing stuff to him. Then the niece saw something, which was like, if you remember in the movie, she was just, I guess, living with him or something, but anyway,
she was there to help out or something.
Yeah, something like that. So she saw something, and it convinced them that something was going on. An entity had pulled her shirt and her bra off her shoulder.
Yeah. Creepy.
Yeah. The niece ran to the aunt's room and was like, "Hey, stuff's going on in your house."
Yeah, it's trying to take my brassiere off.
So, yeah.
I want to see my
So when she ran to the room, the hand on the door handle, she put her hand on the door handle, and then her nightgown got bigger and bigger. Like, it was like, what's this motion called? It was bubbling, kind of.
Yeah.
And then it laughed, and it went back to normal.
Wow.
As she's on her way to her aunt's room. Yeah, so that happened. And then it started happening on their house, like a crucifix would shatter, or rosary would shatter, or just anything that had to do with God or Jesus would just break.
Or sometimes the crosses would be turned upside down.
Yeah. Like, everything would be messed with.
Anything with Jesus on it or God was like...
Yep. So that's when the Warrens were called. They went in there, and they suspected a necrophilia issue happening. That was a ghost situation, because it was an old nursing home, and they had equipment in the basement, and they kind of did weird stuff to the bodies. So, but Lorraine toured the home and the basement where all the equipment was, and apparently still is.
Yeah, because it was still there when they moved in, she said.
Yeah, like, because the door would lock half the time. They couldn't even get in.
Yeah.
Well, Lorraine felt something demonic in the basement. The Warrens felt like just all of a sudden, like, something bad. And so after that, they felt something sharp stabbing, like just something sharp, a stabbing pain, and then heat, and then cold. And then they heard footsteps and knocking, and things started falling down. Well, so they had a priest come bless the house. But 3 came instead of 1. So 3 came. They had an exorcism on the house. A priest was attacked. But 9 weeks after the Warrens came, an exorcism was held. The niece lifted up into lifted up into the air by her neck. Then she started growling, and the aunt had reached out to her shoulder, and she just went back to normal, like she was herself again. So, well, then Ed's chest during the exorcism felt like there was fire on it, and it was really red later on. They said there was chaos in the house whenever they were doing the exorcism. Like, it was, like I said, like things being thrown, like people getting lifted up in the chairs, and so. But they said it took longer than expected. It was hours of a fight, like hours.
That
So
sounds like a fun night right there. Yes.
and they also made
I
books
love
about
getting
it.
picked up by a ghost and just smacked in the face all the time.
Ugh.
And don't get me started on the spirits that slap me. Oh God, I love it.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. So.
That would scar me for life if I got attacked by a ghost like that.
Oh yeah. Friggin', I don't know what I'd do. Alright, so Ed and Lauren Ed and Lauren Ed and the Warrens started training people and to like get them to do what they do because they were getting older, they were getting slower, and they needed some help. So they started training people. Basically, it got passed down to these two gentlemen. The gentleman would go check out a situation and see if it was worthy or okay and everything of having Ed and Lorraine there. And then they would bring him in. They did this interview of an exorcism because, like I said, they videotaped that stuff. Well, this girl was talking in a different voice because normally whenever you're possessed, you don't talk in your voice, but she talked in a different voice and she had closed her eyes and she wasn't responding, so they gave her a pen and paper and she was writing down stuff in a different language. They said that she was possessed, so they did an exorcism, but didn't say what happened after that. They were kind of, I think, just showing us on the documentary, like, what kind of stuff they were dealing with, because it's one of those things, like, where you have to see it, so. Well, then in another instance, a 95-pound woman ripped out of restraints and, like, attacked everybody during an exorcism. And then...
She's got some strength.
Yeah. And then a woman was possessed during an exorcism trial, and I don't know what that is. I'm guessing they do it for fun, and they just try to get...
I don't know what an exorcism trial is.
Or,
that's weird.
Yeah, or maybe they just have
Never
to,
heard of
like...
that.
Maybe they just have to, like... I don't know. I don't really know what that is, but...
We're going to put the exorcism on trial.
Yeah. So, this is, The Devil on Case. This is something that, went to court. Like, not a big court, but it went to court. This happened in Helbron, Connecticut in 1990. The renter that, was renting the house thought the house was haunted, so, she left. Being smart, she's like, I'm not staying here. Well, the landlord sued her for the rest of the money and was like, you're going to finish paying off what you're supposed to be here for. And then the people who were renting the place called Ed and Laurine. It didn't say anything about that, but it didn't really say anything else about it. About that part. About that one. But they did say that they got books and stuff written on them pretty much kind of after that. And they got their own TV show, and I did not know that. The other day they had their own TV show, which is pretty cool. Okay, so the museum thing that we were talking about earlier, they normally from each case they get like the possessed item or the item that they need to get taken out of the house.
Yeah.
And they keep it. Well, it used to be in their house, and they used to have a priest come bless it once a week. Now, since they're both dead, they have an museum, and a priest does still come bless it once a week. But like Annabelle's in there.
Oh God, all sorts
like
of stuff.
Everything's in there.
I'd love to go check it out, but I'd be afraid of something attaching to me.
Yeah.
That's my
I actually have a story. About that too.
I know they always blessed it, but that's amazing how they could always keep so much stuff down there, and nothing ever happened to them.
Yeah.
I know they came and got it blessed, but still, you'd think that's a lot of spirit. That's a lot of paranormal energy down there.
Mm-hmm.
Just sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Just think if you set it on fire, how much of that would be released into
Oh,
the air.
I know. What if it didn't even burn? You know how creepy that'd be? Alright, so in 2001, that's a year before I was born, the Warrens got invited to Japan to explore a haunted house tunnel thing. Well, they got back from Japan, and Ed suffered a massive stroke. The paramedics used paddles, and they got him back, but he was never the same. He was stuck in a coma for, like, the rest of his life. Like, he never woke up. Lorraine cared for him and basically, cleaned him, bathed him, changed him, everything to keep him not dead, And she still continued to do the paranormal stuff, so she was not only taking care of Ed, who's in a coma. She's with other people, the people that they trained,
Yeah.
and she's still trying to help people.
And see, that was pretty cool because back in the day, they was giving out free classes. They would rent out a gym, a high school gym or something.
Yeah, because they
or
do
a
lectures.
cafeteria, and they would do lectures, and then they'd have, if you want to volunteer, and they wouldn't charge anybody.
No, they did it
That's
all
what
for
was
free.
cool. Yeah.
Well, on August 23rd of 2006, Ed passed away.
Oh,
when I
too,
cried.
you didn't talk about that one on the documentary, and they was in Japan. Was it Japan he went to? Or they went to for that deal? That
What? Sorry.
for didn't they go back over there for a job basically?
Yeah, they went to Japan for a
Japan,
job.
okay. But remember Japan, he's like, this is the spot I was sitting at when I found out my daughter was born.
Oh!
And they took that picture.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a picture of him when he found out, like some odd years ago, to the new one.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, so whenever they went to Japan, they went to the spot where he found out that his daughter was born, and yeah, they were comparing pictures, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the part where I kind of cried, because it was so cute in the documentary how they put it.
Yes.
August 23rd of 2006, Ed had passed away. I guess they called him his son-in-law, but I don't know if he was because they didn't say. But I mean, it could have been. The son-in-law, whoever he was, helped Lorraine with the paranormal stuff after that. Well, then, a couple years later, Warner Bros. Started to call, and they wanted to make the movie about the Perron family, or The Conjuring. Then The Conjuring came out, and that started Conjuring 1, 2, 3. That started Annabelle 1, 2, 3. So,
Oh, God, and then Annabelle. I mean, there was The Conjuring, the Annabelle, and then there's other
there's 4 Conjurings, there's 3 Annabelles,
Yeah, well, then the Haunting in Connecticut.
Yeah, because after
they
that,
made that a movie.
They started going back on their cases and they started making everything a movie.
Yeah, and man, that freaking people got paid for all their stories. But that's cool, though, because they needed to be recognized for all the hard work they did.
Yeah.
And to get some of them stories that they did out there because, I mean, you don't need to be narrow-minded. I mean, there's ghosts and stuff out there. It's just weird. Your brain's trained for one thing, and if you're really not, I don't mean to be mean and say narrow-minded, but if you don't want to think outside the box, that's how your head's going to be. You're like,
yeah.
Because the ghosts don't feed off of that because, it's harder for them to communicate when you're already.
And if, it's trying to get you, they can't go through that because, you're not open or whatever.
And then that's what's funny, too, and I mean, they can still get you sometimes.
Oh, it's so weird because it's most of some of the movies, the videos, it's some people, for the guys.
Oh, yeah.
That are the people who are that's not real, that's effing bullshit.
Oh, yeah,
or something.
And then it happens to them and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go get this taken care
of. Some of the people that Ed and Laurine worked with, they were telling everybody that, they left a dent in history, they started everything.
Oh,
and,
they did.
They did, and they left a huge dent in history, and, they're awesome, basically.
They are.
They're... they started basically.
That's why I thought our first, especially being Halloween and stuff, I thought with us being the Ghost Story podcast, we should honor them and do something. Because, I mean, if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be ghost stories. There wouldn't be, there'd still be ghost stories.
Wouldn't be as good, though.
There wouldn't be, people looking for ghosts and all this.
Well, and it's so cute because they did everything together. And they were, the perfect couple. And they were together all those years. And just...
think about it. Could you people imagine being with the same person day and night? Now, I'm not saying, look, there's that, it's gone.
No, we're not doing this.
That was a little dust bunny thing again or something, but there was a string that went floating and it went right behind.
It better be a string.
It went floating like this, it looked like, but then it darted right behind your head.
I swear, this better not, that better be a string and not a freaking word. I'm gonna cry. I'm not doing this. Alright. They're called the grandparents of modern ghost hunting, and I believe that. Give me that pen and notepad real quick. So on April 18th of 2019, Lorraine passed away. She was 92, and orbs were seen at her coffin at the funeral. So she wasn't like, I mean, it was sad, but like she was there in spirit.
Yeah.
And everything, and even in death, she was, still doing what she loved. So that's kind of cute, and I don't know. It's a really cute documentary.
But
You have
yeah,
to watch it.
before I got sidetracked by that thing, but could you imagine being with the same person day in and day out? And I don't mean you go to your job and she goes to her job. They worked together and went home.
And didn't
How
hate
many
each other.
relationships, think about it, could really do that? Have your own business or whatever, do that, and then go home every night to that person and still have a healthy marriage. I guarantee there's 90% of marriages out there today couldn't do it. Couldn't do
Yeah,
it.
it's because I mean they had like that old good genuine love,
Yes.
and it was
And I
awesome,
just love how they was together constantly.
and never gave up
Yeah.
or anything.
And they never gave up on what they was trying to do. He never, even though,
And they never asked for money, and I'm pretty sure people
yes.
tried to pay them. They never
Yeah.
wanted money. They just wanted to help people. That's awesome.
Because that was his goal. He wanted, like I said, people to know that, hey, there is a devil out there.
And if you go venturing in the wrong stuff, you're gonna end up
Yes,
good.
and that was another thing. He was trying to prevent and tell people to leave the dang Ouija boards alone.
Which is so weird because like after the poltergeist came out, everyone started buying them, and he was like, "No, what are you doing?" But I mean, everyone loved
But they
them.
need to be honored. I didn't realize they were such groundbreaking people and such good people.
Me neither. And then I watched that, and it like broke
even
my
the
heart.
ghost hunter guy, the bald guy, Jason, was like, man.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, these guys were like groundbreakers. I mean, they were like the godfathers of paranormal stuff. And think about how long they did this, people. They started. He came back from pretty much after the war, after World War II. They started doing it around in the 50s, basically.
Yeah.
Because he was doing other stuff working. But then that's when he started, they'd see a house and paint it and be like, hey, I painted this. Can we come in and talk? And then they'd start talking to them about their experiences. And they just kept doing it so you figure about they started doing it in the 50s. And they didn't really get any national recognition or anything till the 70s. So they started doing something for about 25 years before they even got recognized that, hey, what they're doing is real. Could you imagine being a diehard about something you love and sticking into it that much, knowing that the outside world thinks you're a joke?
Hey, that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does really help though. Like I mean, they're so awesome.
They're very good people. I mean, like I said, they need to be honored. Because I mean, there just wouldn't be no paranormal stuff probably without. I mean, there would be, but
they just want to be as good and interesting as it is, and like.
I mean, especially for the time they did it, they didn't have any equipment. All they had was a typical recorder, and them didn't come out till the 70s.
Yeah.
So they didn't have them in the 50s and the 60s when they were doing that stuff. So you got to think they were like groundbreakers, and they didn't have all the electric stuff we do now.
Yeah.
They just had them. So we need to recognize them every time y'all listen to us or even watch anything paranormal. Think about them guys. They were cool.
Ed and Laurine Warren.
And think about it too. They sacrificed their house, their bodies, everything.
Every
they stuck
time.
all that stuff. They would take it and put it in their house so nobody else could get it and
have to go through the same thing.
I mean, come on.
And they had a family of their own.
Yes. And they even had their daughter there.
Yeah.
So.
But I think it's time we wrap it up.
Yes, it's been fun. It's been real, chapatos.
Well, I am so sad that this is the last day of October. Well, whenever you guys hear this, it will be. But for us, we have Halloween, and that's it. But Thanksgiving's coming up and Christmas, and even though it sucks, we're already planning for it. It sucks because we want Halloween to last longer. But we're excited.
It ticked us off today. I get paid on Mondays. Monday when I went to Walmart, they had pumpkins. I didn't get any just yet, and all I needed was 2 for me and Lexi because the kids already had theirs, and they had on Monday. We went there today. Today's Friday when we're recording this. We went there Friday after work. They didn't have any pumpkins. They didn't have any freaking of the pumpkin carving kits. half the Halloween stuff was already starting to get boxed up and put away, and Christmas stuff was coming in
Yeah.
already. And I'm like, that's what pisses me off.
Halloween hasn't
Halloween
even
does
happened.
not get to stick around for shit, man.
Mm-mm.
For nothing. And then before you know it, I mean, Halloween hasn't even
Actually
started
happened. Yeah.
or happened, and they're already saying, get out of here.
Yeah.
It's time for Christmas. What the frick, man? Come on.
But I mean, hey, in a year we'll be so prepared next year. But all right, I think we're gonna let you guys go. But I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody. We are almost at 900 downloads, and
since we've been doing this, but
yes,
and another
but for
big
this
shout
month,
out for yes,
we are
tell 'em.
almost at how much?
350 for 1 month. Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
for 1
That's
month,
freaking
and
amazing.
we normally only get like 150.
Which is good. We're not
It's
griping.
good,
We thought
but
150 was awesome.
yeah, but then
We're
in
blowing
October
this
we
one out of the
blew
water
up,
because of
and
you.
yeah. So thank you everybody. Thank you to the new countries and states we've been getting, and thank you. I'm gonna give a shout out to our Men Wells people because I didn't know we had people, and we do.
Yes, we
thank
got
you.
on Anchor now. We got on Anchor. We're on more. We are on more platforms now. I think we're on 4 more podcast platforms. I can't remember the names of them. I ain't never heard them. So
yeah, we're honestly on pretty much. I think anything. We applied for Pandora.
Yeah.
We're waiting to hear back. But we're on anything. Like,
Pretty
if you don't
much.
have these
Even
people
YouTube.
ask me all the time, like, hey, I don't have Spotify. I'm like, we have YouTube, or we have Google Play, or
Yes, I
if
mean,
you like I
iTunes,
said,
Amazon,
if you simply don't have anything else, just go to YouTube and type in "Ghost Stories Told from the South," and bam, you got a video and audio on the same thing. And if you don't want to listen to the audio,
yeah,
I mean the video, you don't have
some of them
to.
we do the videos, some we don't. You know, it just depends on my hair if I have a bad hair day.
Me too.
But we want to thank you guys because that's awesome. 350 for 2 country bumpkins doing this in the small town of Mineral Wells. We want to thank everybody in Mineral Wells who downloads it and listens.
Yeah, we got like 75% here just from like
crazy.
we started on this new app.
Nuts, and
it's
thank
awesome.
You guys.
But
it's all cool. And we're gonna put a video on Facebook thanking everybody for it. We're just waiting until the end of October to get the final tally-os.
Yeah. So.
But we've been doing this for 6 months now, and we've got almost 900 downloads. We've almost got 350 for this month, man. Hey. I love it.
We love you
We're
guys.
halfway
and thank
there.
You.
Just thank guys, and like I said, in May, that's going to be our 1-year anniversary. So we might try to plan something special.
Yeah,
really
we're gonna have to like go somewhere and do something. But
yes.
All right, I think we need to get off
don't
here.
Forget now we're on Facebook,
Instagram, Twitter.
Our emails, ghost story, or emails, ghost story told from the south at gmail.com. Like she said, we're pretty much everywhere. YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, anything.
Type in our name.
Patreon page.
Yeah, just type in Ghost Stories Told from the South and you'll find us. And just keep on sending us messages.
And y'all, we appreciate the downloads a lot, but we give us some likes and hit them subscribe button, guys. Keep we need keep
don't be afraid.
And subscribing and stuff.
Like on the Facebook stuff and the Instagram, don't be afraid to like comment or share or whatever. Because I'm gonna start. What I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start liking y'all guys' stuff and commenting on y'all.
For the people that have emailed us on our email from the person from the San Antonio. The only reason I ain't saying your names because I don't know how y'all feel about that. So I'm not going to, unless y'all email and say, hey, say my name, I'm not going to. Anyways, she sent me some more stuff on the Goat Man. I'm going to get it done. I haven't done it yet. That's going to be in my November. Give a shout out to her. And then Lexi was talking to a person where? What's that investigation group?
I'll have to look it up. It's been a while since I looked on it.
There's an paranormal group that talked to us and liked our show, and we liked what they have on YouTube, what they go and do. So we might try to talk to them, maybe do something together, or
And I'm getting a lot of more messages about people sending me messages and following me and everything, and I am following everybody back. So
it's getting awesome, guys, and we thank you. But hit them subscribe buttons more and get them follows and likes up to par with our downloads.
But yeah, thank you for the downloads.
But it's amazing. 350. It's just, I don't know if just because it's October and it's Halloween, or y'all just really like what we're producing. And hey, if you do, man, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We appreciate it big time.
All right. Well,
love you
everybody
guys.
has a
and if you've been listening to this, you've been listening to Excuse me. Ghost Stories Told from the South. I am your host, Stephen LeBooth, and this is...
Your co-host, Lexi Leopard.
And this has been a Booth Podcast Incorporated. Anyways, I was trying to do a plug there. Let's just go. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Well, I'm trying to word in